All right, we are back in the studio here at the VFS Cafe. That's at 390 West Hastings in Vancouver, BC. And it's time for our first guest to come up on stage and join us. He is a composer and a sound designer, and he is also the founder of the Vancouver community for virtual reality. So we have lots to talk about with Adrian Talens. Come on up, my friend. It's good to see you. So this is cool. I met you. How are you doing, my friend? I met you at the Twitch meetup, which was not too long ago.
That was a really good meetup.
Wasn't it? And it was based here at the VFS in one of the buildings that they have on this massive campus, and it went off great. And I was actually just on my way out the door after being there for a while, and we started talking, and you told me a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, I'm glad I caught you. I didn't expect you to be here, actually. But then afterwards, I started putting the pieces together. Oh, it's filmed here at VFS, and it all makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's a great partnership. I'm actually hosting the Pitch and Play event that they're putting on next week, which is basically the wrap-up of their game design students.
Oh, okay.
And we produce it right out of the space here, too. It's an incredible facility here. So tell me a little bit about your background. Are you from Vancouver? Were you born here?
I was born in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
In Winnipeg, okay, all right. And then you made your way to Vancouver?
Yeah, somehow ended up here in Vancouver. But I've lived here most of my life.
Okay, cool. And how did you find your way into a career in video games?
Yeah, so, about 5 years ago, I was doing something really different than what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I was actually doing a whole bunch. I came out of college, and I just finished like a music degree. And after that, I was trying to find some work, ended up getting some sort of marketing work, which was working for some telecom companies, going door to door, and
not
getting them to
school
change over the internet. Yeah. So it was pretty good. Like other than that fact that was really stressful, it was 100% commission.
Yeah.
And I did that for a year. At the end of the year, I came to a point where I was doing some workshops in the morning and teaching people how to do kind of like the job.
Yeah.
But by the end of that, when I was going for my promotion, it's everyone on my team, I had 9 people, they just quit or they got fired.
Oh, wow.
It's typically like a stressful kind of like job, high turnover rate kind of thing. So one day I was sitting on the curb of some random person's house, and I was thinking there must be something better that I could do with my life.
Yeah.
So I took out a piece of paper, and I wrote down everything that I was good at, all my hobbies and skills. And I was like, my dream job is somewhere here in this paper. So I ended up circling video games and music, and it's really not an avenue that I ever thought was even a career possibility.
Right on, man.
And in that moment, a friend of mine gave me a phone call. He said, do you want to go to PAX this year, which is the video game convention in Seattle?
Right.
And I was like, no, I got to get my life together, so bye. But then I realized, going to PAX, where I normally check out the latest games and everything, I could see if I could meet some people. They have panels there and get a better sense of sort of who I can network with, and if it is a viable career option.
Right.
So I called him back. I was like, you know what, I'm absolutely going to go. Because the one thing in my mind was I didn't want to do what I was doing in that marketing job for a year again, just to be in that situation.
That marketing job, it reminds me of what I did with EP, what you're just talking about here, because I did the same thing. I wrote down a whole bunch of ideas, and I basically focused on what I love to do, which was, talk to the camera in video games, and that's what I pursued. And I think it's important to write down what you want to do with it. I think the act of writing those ideas down is an incredibly invaluable thing. But the other thing that you did with this marketing gig that you learned from was that you kind of understood how to run your own thing, right? You were kind of running your own business, which you now, in effect, had to do.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, because you're going from gig to gig to gig, right?
I would say, though, that one thing, I don't condone, quitting everything you have right now and just following what you have.
No.
You need to have a plan. You need to sort of make something you know yourself the most, so when it can be hard when some people say you can't do this, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But definitely at least have a plan. So for me in that situation, I knew income-wise I was okay to explore that for 6 months.
Yeah.
And I'd be all right. So, and if it didn't, nothing happened, then I would kind of repeat the cycle kind of thing.
Yeah. So was that PAX a very big turnaround moment
It was.
for you?
I was so inspired.
Yeah.
I was very inspired.
Did you meet people that ended up being people that you worked with and did some work with?
Yeah. I found out, I did a lot of late night Googling after that, and there's a really good community here for indie game developers. The one I found was Full Indie.
Yes.
If you've ever been to that.
That's Brian Provinciano's baby.
Yeah.
Brian was just on talking about Shakedown
awesome.
Hawaii.
Yeah. And I know one thing that also really helped me in that marketing door-to-door job was being able to talk to every sort of person, because I don't know who's behind the door,
Yes.
what sort of disposition they're in their day-to-day,
Yep.
or like, from every walk of life. So that definitely helped. I remember there were good times at the job, though. I was the person at the office that, for some reason, everyone would, after they'd sign up, they'd invite me over for dinner.
Oh, cool.
So I would Snapchat my team, like, I'm eating this tonight, and like every time.
And so that would get them to invite you to the next dinner because they like
I guess
the little
food
fame.
was a perk. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, well, you made the transition.
Mm-hmm.
You were making some money, but then you said, I want to make art. And what was the first project that you were able to bring out into the world or help bring out into the world?
I mean, till that moment, there were a few game jams and little small games that didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
But definitely the standout one very early on in my career was Polybridge.
Cool.
And now it's on Nintendo Switch. We didn't even know it was going to be a huge hit.
Yeah.
In the indie scene.
It was a New Zealand game maker.
It was, yeah.
And
Dry Cactus Games, yeah.
Did you meet them at PAX, or how did you meet these guys?
Yeah, so I put my portfolio on this game development website called TigSource.
Okay.
And I got an email one day that, hey, we're looking for a sound designer and composer.
Yeah.
Here's a demo that we have. So I played through the demo, and I also screen captured the gameplay so I can send back to them just sort of rough work of sound design, which I really didn't have an idea what I was doing at the time.
Yeah.
But YouTube tutorials, there's a lot of resources out there.
Dude, you are giving people a master class right now. This is how you go from like just doing the job to doing the dream. Yeah, that's awesome.
So I remember, and this is kind of a funny story, 'cause I don't think even the developer knows this detail, but so in around 2009, I had a singer-songwriter phase where I'd play acoustic guitar, and so I had this one track where I put it on, and in the video editor with the screen captured gameplay, it just fit really well.
Cool.
But I muted my lyrics because it was very emo and like it didn't fit at all. so and then that was that. Then I sent that, and that's actually the first track on the album. It's called Under Construction, the first song.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So okay, so you we just saw some video of you doing a little. So
yeah.
I guess that's part of the secret, right? You got to do a little bit of everything. You got to sort of chase your dream in a bunch of different threaded directions, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess don't really put all your eggs in one basket.
Right, yeah, especially when you're on your own. And there was an era in video games where a lot of that stuff would be brought in-house, but I think we're starting to see that less and less. I think there's a lot more trust in outside artists and outside teams and developers out there that can build a lot of these pieces.
Yeah.
And I think sound design and audio fits into that quite often, doesn't it? So you went with Polybridge, which became quite a big success. How did you end up doing music for Steven Universe, which is a Cartoon Network show?
Yeah, so I worked on the mobile game. I didn't work on the TV show.
Oh, okay.
But there was a developer that I worked on some mobile games with them in the past, Stellar J Studios.
Yep.
And they pitched to Cartoon Network an idea for a Steven Universe game.
Cool.
And so since I worked with them on sound design before, they know I really love making music, and they're like, we need to have you doing music for this one. So at first I was a little kind of nervous because this is a big IP that I'm working with.
Yeah.
I'm normally used to working with kind of like definitely smaller scale stuff.
Sure.
So I know they reached out to the composers of the show, Ivan Sarashu, and they were too busy to work on it.
Yeah.
So then.
Did you do the whole game then?
Yeah, I did the soundtrack.
Amazing. That's incredible. And
it's on iOS and Android. Dreamland Arcade.
When did you do that?
That was probably, well, that was a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least 3 or 4.
Okay.
Maybe 3 years ago.
And so you've been bouncing from indie game project to indie game project, and basically building your cred and getting some developers to trust in your work.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the tools of your trade? We might as well go full master class with this interview.
Sure. Yeah.
What are some of the tools that you use, and some of the tips that you would give for people out there that can make music and want to make music for video games?
I think one of the main questions that people ask is, what DAW do I need to use to make music? And that's like a software kind of thing.
Yeah. What
there's
is
DAW?
A
digital audio workstation.
Okay.
And it's really not a helpful question, because it really is, all of them are capable. You just need to know it kind of inside and out.
Right. And how important is it as a music maker in video games to like really play the video games and know their value as an art form that you attach yourself to?
I do think it helps. I don't think it's necessary, but I know from my own experience, if I have a game that I'm working on, I think about what's this like, and that I've already played,
right?
And what did they do, and what could I do differently music-wise
Cool.
to have my own spin on it.
Very cool. One of the other things that you're doing is working with developers in Vancouver. And Vancouver is a hotbed for visual effects. Game development,
right.
It has been for years, but there's also a burgeoning VR community here.
Yeah.
And you tapped into that.
Yeah. It was a CVR, Consumer VR convention I want to say, I'm really bad with the years. I think it's a freelancer thing. Like, I don't even know what day it is sometimes.
You've been rocking. You've been building stuff.
So, a few years ago when VR was kind of not really as a household kind of thing. I mean, we're not quite there yet, but it's definitely, people have heard of VR. And coming out of this convention, I was really inspired I just want to connect with all these people. And so I searched on Facebook, Vancouver VR community, and there wasn't any community. So I was like, I may not be the best to take this on, but if I don't do it, I don't know if someone is going to do it, or it might be too late, kind of to grow that community, right?
No, it's not too late. And here's the thing that I know about Vancouver. This is a little insider thing on Vancouver in general. So much incredible work gets made here, but this is a work for hire town, and people are really damn busy completing their contracts and building their content. And they don't really do that social connection thing as much as you would think they would. And so it's important for people like yourself and other, I mean, that's what this show being done out of a live space is kind of about too. It's important to kind of make the effort to bring a community together, because that sharing and that discussion is going to lead to growth and to new ideas and new studios and all kinds of things.
Absolutely agree,
Right?
The one thing that I didn't want was developers to be working on VR secretly out on their own while they could, go to one of our meetups and then, oh, you're doing that? Well, I already solved that problem, so here you go. And that just lifts the whole industry.
That's awesome. So there's video of some of the work that you've done. You've got support from a lot of the local game companies. This sounds to me like all of that marketing background that you had was just integral. It was a big part of you being able to communicate these ideas. Yeah?
Yeah, I would say so. Just having not necessarily marketing, but just a mind for business.
Sure.
For what I do when I work with developers. And this is a really important tip if you are a freelancer and you want to get into video games, working for indie games. Make sure you sign an agreement, have an agreement, so that things are kind of locked in as what's expected of the both parties, and it's just good for either. If you don't sort of like have a lawyer, or if you don't go that route, definitely at least ask a freelancer for some help,
Is this firsthand knowledge?
No, I'm lucky no one has sued me ever.
Yes.
Or I have never had to sue anyone. But that's also because from the beginning, I'm sure that helped in
Yeah.
just making sure that's a point.
So you in addition to the Vancouver VR community and the and the music and the sound design that you're working on with video games, you're also creating music that is influenced by all of this work that you do, but it stands apart, and you're putting on concerts. You put on your first
Yeah,
concert.
it's a relatively new thing to me. You met me when I'm kind of pivoting again
Yeah.
this year. So when I first got into making music for games, I didn't have any, and this was a few years ago, I didn't have any games to work on, so I would just make sort of electronic dance music that was inspired by sort of like chiptune and stuff like that.
Yep.
And that that stuff was really popular, and then I always had the most fun writing that because I had 100% creative control.
Sure.
So now I feel like I'm at a time where I can just take this year to see where that goes.
Yeah.
And
That can only
yeah.
help all of your other aspirations. Yes?
Mhm.
I see you packing around in a lot of the footage that we found about your career with a camera, and you know, you're shooting things all the time, and you've got an eye for like putting a package together. Is filmmaking
thanks.
a passion of yours too?
Well, I was in school for actually a long time. Before I studied music for 3 years, I was kind of in this limbo of general studies for also another 3 years.
Yeah.
And there was a marketing year in there, and then even before that, it was visual arts.
Right.
So I knew at an earlier age I wanted to pursue something that was kind of creative.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized taking those classes, I really suck at painting, but the digital media kind of stuff was like, oh, this is kind of cool, you know?
That's
So,
awesome.
and yeah, you're right. It's definitely helped me in being able to be like a one-stop shop for my own sort of, I need this promotional material for this thing that I'm doing. I kind of have the skill to do that, and good enough that it's probably worthwhile that I should do it.
Well, and you know, the thing that impressed me about meeting you is that within a couple of days you had sent me an email with a bunch of links to,
yeah.
And that's the thing, right? Like I meet lots of people that are
Yeah.
fascinating and working on lots of cool things, and I want to have lots of people through here,
Yeah.
but I really don't have tons of time to chase down lots and lots of people to bring them through.
Yeah.
But I was really impressed with how easy you made it for me to realize, this would be a great person to have on the show,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
here are the reasons why.
Yeah, that brings me to another thing, that when you're delivering something to a developer, it's something that I think of. What's easy for them to receive it, so that the communication is very easy.
Yes,
You know.
yes.
Because if you hire someone, and let's say that it's an indie sort of hire, what's more important than what your skills are, if, like, let's say you meet them in person, is that they want to know if they can work with you, if they can bear to stand working with you, even through the ups and downs of the project that they're working on, through all that, right? So I think the impression like that goes a long way.
Adrian, you're
I'm
gonna
impressed
be-
you
you're-
like my formatting. I bolded stuff.
It
too.
was great, and you're going to be very successful. That's exactly the right attitude. And the thing that I learned, just so you get the full, like when this is cut out as a separate video, this is your path, basically.
Yeah.
The other thing that you want to be doing too is you want to make solutions for people that would
Yeah.
hire you.
Mhm.
You want to sort of take out a lot of the guesswork and solve
Yeah.
a lot of that stuff. That's what we always did with our video content as well.
I
And it
do-
sounds like you got a lot of
Thanks,
that already
thank
figured
you,
out, man.
thank
That's
you.
great.
I do want to say that while I seem like, I'm like good at everything or whatever, right? But there's a lot of times where, and this is stuff that people don't see,
Yeah.
where you fail at a thing and then you learn from your mistakes, kind of thing.
Awesome.
So I guess my emails are getting better, and
Oh, you're
lucky
great.
to catch you at the good one.
No, dude, it's very impressive, and you know, I want to know where you're aiming for. What do you
Yeah.
want to do? What's your dream now? What do you want to?
Yeah, all
You want to
right,
be
yeah.
composing for movies? You want to direct your own thing? You want to join a team?
If I had it my way, I would just be putting out the music that I love, which is currently it's electronic dance music,
Yep.
and just the streaming, putting all the streaming platforms.
Yep.
I do have some music right now. Adrian Talens on Spotify if you want to check any of that out. But it is mostly game stuff. So in this year I'll be putting more of that stuff out. And yeah, it's just that feeling of no one really has to say, I don't really like this, can you change it?
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Adrian, which microphone is better here?
This is a Loughton?
This is the Shure
that's
SM7B.
Oh, okay.
And this is the Loughton LS208. I'm making the choice. We're going to have the same microphones.
I
But,
don't have...
You guys can let us know on the chat, too.
Let us know.
Right?
But I think also it's because mostly they hear you from this. So if you say into this...
Well, I did
there's a
the last
joke.
show
Oh,
I
you
did. I
Oh,
used
okay.
that. And this show I'm using
Yeah,
this.
okay.
So, and you guys hear my voice
Yeah.
because I don't stop talking. But you hear my voice a lot. So let us know which microphone that you like. But
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
have a preference? Have you used these things?
I don't really have a
No,
preference.
because you haven't
so.
started podcasting yet. That's
true,
next.
yeah.
That'll
Yeah.
just be
Yeah,
on
maybe,
the resume right
maybe,
there.
yeah.
I have a
Well.
question from Sam IM
Oh, okay.
111. He says, "Why did Kellyanne Conway just pop up there? That was weird." It said, "Adrian, what are your most influential chiptune artists and tracks?"
Oh, chiptune artists, hey? Well, early on, definitely the original Mega Man series.
Yeah, totally.
Mega Man 2, the intro to
Awesome.
that.
Is that the best
So
Mega Man
good.
game? I still
wouldn't
think
say
it
that's,
is.
Yeah?
I still think it is. Yeah.
Out of even X and everything?
I think Mega Man 2 was just like the sweet spot.
It was a good one.
It was so
definitely a
good.
one, yeah.
You know, they knew they had a hit with the first one. The second
Yeah.
one was just like they were just reveling in it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But then they
Yeah.
were still figuring it out, but it was amazing.
Yeah.
Good question, Sam. I am 111.
Good question, yeah.
Let's see if we got any other questions in there. You guys, if you got any questions too, you can ask. Throw away in the house. This is also from Sam
Sure.
at 1111. Adrian, what's the most interesting encounter that you've had going door to door?
Let's see.
Anybody naked?
No,
No,
not
okay.
surprisingly. I might have quit that day. if
Yeah.
that happened.
Hello. And you are?
Let's see. I know there was one time they were blasting like Eminem from the balcony.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was knocking on the door. They couldn't hear me knock, but somehow they heard me knock and they let me in. And then it was they were just going through some stuff, you know.
Oh, really?
I didn't feel unsafe, but I could tell that something really devastating just happened to them,
Oh, wow.
which is
That's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And what were you selling them?
internet.
Yeah.
Well, everyone needs internet.
Yeah,
Have
we
you
all-
seen that
we all do.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
No.
Someone added Wi-Fi on like.
Oh, that's
the
awesome. It's so true, right? Even my 7-year-old knows that. Do we
Yeah.
have Wi-Fi? I want to watch
Yeah.
my Netflix shows. You're 7. Okay. What upcoming game or documentary projects are you working on right now?
Yeah, I am working on a documentary I'm very excited about. It's for the community here in Vancouver. It's
Yep.
actually a local thing.
Yep.
Of the Smash community, the competitive fighting
Awesome.
scene.
Esports.
Yeah, esports. Yeah.
Es fuerte. That's Ben
I failed
Silverman joke.
Spanish,
Okay.
so.
That's for you, Ben Silverman. Es fuerte.
Yeah, so I'm scoring the whole soundtrack to that.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the big reasons that I was so down to do it, because they just wanted me to write what I was basically writing anyways, electronic
on.
dance music stuff.
Right
so.
on. Would you be into coming back on this show and
Oh.
performing?
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah,
want to do
that'd be
that.
interesting.
What do you guys think? I have a little live
Oh.
music in the room. That'd be pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Like a house band thing?
I
Like
mean,
you do like a
I-
you're pointing at me and I'm like, hey.
Let's do one.
Oh, okay.
And let's see how that
wow.
goes. And if everybody
Okay.
is down for it, we could do it more. But I think it'd be pretty rad to have
Yeah,
some
that
music
would be
in
pretty
it.
rad.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
play some chiptune versions of some of our favorite themes.
I also do know a lot of people sound designers, composers, I think would be definitely down.
I love
to,
it.
like, collaborate. in
Dude,
this
that's
sort
why
of
we have
sense.
this big old space right here, right? Let's fill it up and let's do some cool things like that.
Let's do some cool things.
But
yeah.
I am very impressed by you. You look like you're 16,
Oh,
and you
thanks.
got your you got your head on straight. You're
Yeah.
on a great track already, and I think we're going to see some very big things from Adrian Talens. Let's give him a round of applause. Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you.